Hello and welcome to Security Weekly News. I'm Aaran Leyland, not Dr. Doug White again. He's busy, and this is episode 476 of the Security Weekly News on May 13th, 2025. And I'm here reporting from London, and it's hot here, guys. It's like a beautiful summer's day, and I've been in the office most of the day. Okay, today we got deepfake porn, South Korea, Operation Moonlander, Chinese AI, FBI, AI use damages professional reputation, Josh Marpit, and more on this edition of Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Imagine a world where every threat, ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, is stopped before it can even begin. ThreatLocker makes that world a reality with a zero-trust approach to cybersecurity. By giving you granular control on every executable that can happen in your environment, ThreatLocker protects your business around the clock. No more guessing, no more gaps, just rock-solid protection that keeps your operations running smoothly and your data secure. Discover how ThreatLocker's least privilege approach can safeguard your organization against known and unknown threats. Take the first step toward total peace of mind. Visit securityweekly.com/threatlocker today.
Okay, welcome back to a packed show, so I'm going to dive right in because I wrote too many words. Okay, first story. What's the carbon footprint of using ChatGPT? Well, it's not as bad as we thought, right? Each ChatGPT prompt uses about 3 watt-hours of electricity, and I bet you most of you actually know what that means. So in daily use, using it 10 times a day, 10 times, who uses it 10 times a day? Thousands, amounts to 30 watt-hours, less than 0.2% of the daily electricity an average person uses in the UK, which is confusing. Okay, even 100 pumps a day only uses 2% of that daily average compared to Google. So ChatGPT uses more than a typical web search, but in real terms, it's still not much. So no need to feel guilty. The real picture is just use it loads. It's amazing. And it just doesn't make a difference. And anyway, China and power stations and coal. And so, bottom line, go use it. Environmental impact is minor. Don't worry about it. No excuses. There you go. That's my take on it anyway. Okay, next we have OpenAI agrees to buy Windsurf for about 3 billion, and that's what Bloomberg News is reporting. So they're saying this is OpenAI's biggest deal so far, and I don't know about you, but I'm becoming desensitized to these huge numbers, and that's probably what they want. Okay, so they're set to acquire Windsurf, and it's an AI tool for software development. Be afraid. And this is why it matters. With their largest acquisition yet, they're showing strong interest in boosting its coding support tools. Like, aren't all our coders using AI as an accelerator? I hope so. Look, if it's not as good as you yet, I believe the time for it to overtake, well, it's overtaken me a long time ago, but to overtake a substantially good coder will be here very soon. Okay, so the basics, it was previously called Codium, and now it's got a cool name. Um, it builds tools that help developers write code faster, obviously using AI. The company has already attracted major investor attention, with its value increasing significantly over the past year. The acquisition is likely to strengthen ChatGPT's usefulness for developers by integrating more advanced coding assistants. Obviously, it's a strategic move to stay ahead in a fast-growing space of AI-driven programming tools. Look, if you've been keeping up with the news, this actually seems like a small fish as far as how good it's going to be. But look, with the market share of OpenAI, it's just going to become massive, isn't it? And like, what do they need? Even more market share? Probably not. Okay, next, Future House releases AI tools it claims can accelerate science. It's like, what a clickbait headline that was. Okay, this makes me really happy because, to be honest, I just want to live forever and I want everything, just about everything anyway, to happen fast. Like everything. So it's a non-profit organization and it's released a set of AI tools designed to support and accelerate scientific research. Amazing. So their ultimate goal is to create an AI scientist. Look, there's other people in the market already doing this, and they're saying within the next 10 years, I'm expecting this stuff, well, already to happen, but not released to the public. But they're saying 10 years. Look, it's a system capable of helping researchers push the boundaries of science more efficiently. With a quick overview, they've got Crow, which answers questions by searching through scientific papers and literature. I like how's it? It's just a search tool, right? Falcon performs deep and wide-ranging searches across scientific data. Owl, I have to enunciate that because in Northern Ireland that's owl. Helps researchers identify past work in their specific area of study. And Phoenix, which assists with designing and planning chemistry experiments. Yes, go make crack cocaine. Maybe guardrails. Don't do that. Okay, so here's how the tool works. The tools can scan and interpret a huge range of open access research papers. I love that open access research papers because nobody's blaming these AI LLMs of just stealing stuff, are they? I'm sure they don't. Okay, they then follow a transparent, multi stage process to analyze and respond to scientific questions in a reasoned way. And then by linking the tools, researchers can create a more powerful workflow to tackle complex problems and potentially speed up discoveries. Right. It's early days and there are limitations. There have been no major discoveries yet. Apparently, despite their potential, the tools have not led to any major scientific breakthroughs. Okay, right. Turning these tools into something that can match human scientific reasoning and insight remains a major challenge. Go figure. Especially when dealing with unexpected results or designing novel hypotheses. So it doesn't actually seem that great, but I did put it in here because even though it sounds underwhelming, the moral of this story is there's loads of rich tech bros out there throwing billions of dollars at this. And in my humble opinion, they have the thought to literally cover every possible job that AI can do. They're going to make it do it and they're going to throw billions at it. And they just have billions sitting around waiting to make trillions. All right. So do with that what you should and go learn some tools. Next. Okay. Ascension reveals personal data 437,329. Such an exact number when like they're like, oh my God, it's like this exact number of people got compromised. Well, if you're so smart and you can put it down to that amount of people, maybe you can do science, you can do cybersecurity better. Look, it also contains medical data, so it's quite bad. Shared it with a former partner and it was compromised. Well, should you share things with partners? Well, that's another question. Okay, third party risk management is a mess. It's a big business. There's no great answers how to mitigate the risk when somebody else has your data. It's there are platforms there like you need to dig into this stuff because this is where all the big stuff's happening. It's like, right, action taken, affected patients are being notified, and 2 years, 2 full years of free credit and identity monitoring are being offered. As Doug said last week, he's got about 73 years of this built up. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Look, broader context, this follows a separate ransomware attack the year before, which disrupted services. And it said the organization is reviewing its practices and reinforcing cybersecurity measures. Horse bolted, door closed. Okay. Anyway, next 160,000 impacted by Valsoft data breach. Happened in February. Um, Look, targeting a non-production network. It like why was there production data in the non-production network? Has nobody gone to school? So it contained people's names, social security numbers, driving license numbers, and financial account details, which is a big A. I probably should have led with that. So 160,000 individual cases has been confirmed. The company did respond. The attack was interrupted mid-transfer, and they're saying this is likely due to the scale of the breach. It was probably just flooding out the door, like a dam has been breached, and that's how they find it. But those impacted have been contacted and offered a year's free credit monitoring. And again, security practices are being reviewed and strengthened. It's like, oh, I'm reading the same stories again and again and again. Okay, next. Um, this is a timeline of South Korean telco giant SKT's data breach. 18th of April, unusual activity. 19th, a breach. 20th, authorities were informed. 22nd, the company publicly acknowledged. 28th, a SIM card replacement program was launched. Look, this here, substantive subscriber data was accessed, phone numbers, IMSAI numbers, authentication keys linked to SIM cards. There was actually 25 different categories of personal data were compromised. I didn't even know there was that many. The breach impacted around 23 million customers. Company response, free replacement SIMs, and apparently a new SIM protection feature was introduced to prevent future breaches. Horses bolting again. And some roaming and network continuity measures were implemented. Look, apparently loads of people have left. I would too. It's like, just get out of there. Like, I'd get out of there. And they're like, just reviews and they may face penalties. Well, no, of course they should. Okay, next. This has a cool name. Operation Moonlander dismantled the botnet behind any proxy and 5SOC cyber criminal services. Look, this is a 20-year botnet and it's finally been taken down. Look, I'm going to move through this a bit faster, actually. So they sold access to compromised routers as residential. That's the big thing here. Residential proxies to global customers. So what's going to happen here? If they're residential, they're all caught up in the noise, aren't they? People aren't going to see them, so you can do all the cool criminal stuff there. They targeted end of life routers. They're out there. Get rid of them. And they literally sold access to them. What is cool here actually is the command and the control services were every 60 seconds to 5 minutes. So that's actually quite small. So if you put something like Rita onto your network, you'd probably find this. But as I say, they were selling it. 7,000 active proxies available to rent. And traditional security tools find them really hard to find within the noise. There was obviously denial of services, brute force, data exfiltration, loads of ad fraud. Um, look, why was this not pulled down before? Like, other than the bad guys using it, were there other people using it? I guess we'll never know. But what it does say is replace that equipment. Okay, senators move to quash the use of Chinese AI system by federal contractors. Look, they're after DeepSeek. And why wouldn't they be? Look, in my opinion, DeepSeek is fine to use. You just don't put anything in it that you don't want the Chinese to know. And then that's your guardrail. If you want the Chinese to know it and use it, put it in there. If it doesn't matter and it's free and it's low cost and it's low energy, well, use it. But it it it's like there's actually a waiver for a review of case by case uses to use it if the use of the tool supports national security or specific science needs. Go figure. But This is all over the place, and other nations like Russia, North Korea, Iran, the big four are under increased security. Why am I not surprised? Okay, FBI, this is another story, warns end-of-life devices are being actively targeted by threat actors. Linksys, Cisco, Cradlepoint. All this says, and all I've added this in here, is that replace them. If it's not possible, disable remote administration features, change all credentials to really strong, unique passwords, where you can update to the latest firmware. And this is very important. Look, they have to compromise these. So if you reboot them, it normally runs in memory. So it boots them out and they have to come back in, but really get rid of them. Okay, Josh, nearly time. But first, a Canadian pharmacist. It's like this sound like it's like could be like Breaking Bad and more crack cocaine, couldn't it? But this time, rather than a Canadian pharmacist doing pharmacist stuff and making drugs like fentanyl, they're the key figure behind the world's most notorious deep fake porn site. So this hospital pharmacist living outside Toronto has been revealed as a key figure behind and the name Mr. Deepfakes, which is the world's largest site for non-consensual deep fake porn, which means there's a world's largest consensual site for deep fake porn. Answers on a postcard. Send me it over. Let's have a look. Okay, so the platform hosted more than 70,000 explicit AI generated videos featuring celebrities, influencers, and private individuals, some violent and all without consent. So I do make light of it, but it is very serious. So the site amassed over 2 billion views. It's like porn sales, right, guys? And had 650,000 users. Crazy. So users could pay hundreds, only hundreds, for custom deepfakes, including of partners and strangers. It just feels so cheap, doesn't it? The videos depicted graphic scenes such as strangulation. I bet you some of you want to strangle me. Group sex using fake likenesses of public figures like Scarlett Johansson and Taylor Swift. And I know I've seen in the media, they've been pretty pissed off. So the operator hid behind aliases, but was tracked via leaked passwords, reused email, and online forum posts. After being approached by journalists, he denied involvement. Of course, he did, deleted his social media accounts, and the website abruptly shut down. Okay, I am told that the site generated thousands of monthly from ads and premium requests. It's like, who's advertising on these? Um, Look, it still feels like not a lot of money. They were doing a load of cryptocurrency stuff. The pharmacist was actually linked to more than 150 deepfake videos himself. But it did open up that Canada lacks criminal laws banning adult deepfake porn, and victims have had few legal options beyond civil claims. Lucky enough, in other countries, not Canada, this stuff is illegal. So there you go then. Anyway, right, professional commentary. Please welcome Josh Marpit, looking like he's wearing eyeshadow and it's pink and it's like pure surly, like neon, and I love it. So Josh, one of the coolest people, wearing my favorite color, green. Over to you, Josh.
Thank you. It's not eyeshadow, it's the tint on my glasses, but okay. But if I look good, hey, I'll claim it. So I've got, actually, I got to tell you, when I read the title, FBI warns about end of life devices, I was wondering about why people on hospice were having problems. And it took me a second to realize it meant
Turn off them machines.
ventilators. I'm like, damn, that's not good. That's scary. And then I realized you meant things that had end of life their support. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes much more sense. So it read very differently for me. I just wanted to point that out. But I wanted to talk about, there was a report done by the Cloud Security Alliance with Vanta, and it was an interesting one. They talk about what's going to be challenging, what's going to be different, what's going to be interesting in the cloud and in our world for the next year. And they came up with 5 really, I mean, some of them are like, yeah, no joke, but really good insights into what's going on in the world for us, for InfoSec. And they said that, for example, I'll give you them. The security landscape has never been more challenging. No, really? We've got enough ransomware to choke a horse. We've got enough, business email compromise and romance scams and scams of all sorts, crypto scams, zero click, RCE. I can blabber jargon at you, but like the point is it's terrifying out there. It is absolutely terrifying how much malware, bad behavior, bad actors, nasty things going on. And have our tools significantly changed to hold them off? And the answer is not really. Yeah, we've got AI now. Okay, that's cool, but it doesn't mean that I don't need a human looking at the numbers, looking at the logs, looking at the protective measures. We still need to be ahead of the bad people, the bad guys and gals, because you know what? They only need to be right once. Yes, it's a truism. I know that, but it's true. Okay, that's kind of the point of a truism. So they said that 55% of organizations are saying security risks for their org have never been higher. I agree. It's insane. So what does that mean? Do we need to spend more on security? I think we need to have security as part of the culture rather than simply as a bolt-on and simply as something we do later and as a cost center. Security needs to be part of the culture of the company, part of the business culture. And that's something we can talk about, but that's where you get into continuous compliance. That's where you get into doing it on a daily basis. It's not just the thing you do every quarter or every year or whatever. Once a year point in time pen testing. No. Okay. It needs to be part of the culture. It's really that simple. So they talk about AI and they said, look, more people are doing AI. Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all agree on that. But governance and risk management fall behind. How do you manage the risk of AI in your organization? And if the answer is, I don't know, that's the typical answer right now. We need to be managing the risk of usage of AI. Well, how about we just cut AI off? Have a nice day withering on the vine. Everybody is using AI. It is a competitive advantage. You're going to use AI. That's not the question. And the question is not, what do I cut off? The question is, how do I make it so that using AI appropriately is the right and the easy way to do it? How do I make sure that my people in my organization can use AI to make their lives better, easier, faster, stronger, if you want to Daft Punk it, but they actually do it in a way that works with our risk appetite and works with our organizational settings, if you will, okay? How do I use data classification? How do I use AI? How do I use the different types of AI? Do I need to bring AI in-house? That's a way to do it, and then I control it. Then I know my data isn't getting sold. This is a question of, do you have a TV? Of course you have a TV. And in London, you pay for that because you have to have a TV license, which is the weirdest thing ever. But if you have a TV, these days, your TV is selling your viewing data to the owner, to the manufacturer of the TV. So there's a risk there. If you don't know that, then, and you don't account for that, then you're not measuring your risk appropriately. And if you're not measuring your risk appropriately, you're not pricing your risk right, you're not handling your risk right. So we need to understand what we give up or what we take on in terms of responsibility and information when we use public, shared, private, managed AIs. And how do we do it properly so that it's transparent, it's part of the culture to our people, and yet it's still safe and secure and solid for our organizations. The third one was that time spent on compliance tasks is growing, but automation can reduce the burden. That's one of the ones that I went, duh. Okay. But yeah, it's true. If you can automate compliance, you're going to be a lot better off, because let me tell you something. They are not removing compliance frameworks. They are only adding more. And when they brought in GDPR, and then states in the US went, I like that. And they brought out CCPA and now CPRA. When they added CMMC and FedRAMP v5 and all the fun things for the federal people, and when they started adding state ramp for all the states in the US, and when they started adding ENS in Spain for medical data, and the amount of compliance frameworks that your company handles has gone up. 20 years ago, it was one, if any. Now it's, you only have 7? Like, wow, that's not bad. So we need to make sure that we're using proper automation. We need to make sure that we're looking at all of our frameworks. How can we combine them? How can we do them continuously? How can we add them to the culture of what we do so that every quarter we're not going, oh crap, there's another audit team coming. It's all right. Here's what you need. Here's an office. Sit down, relax, chill. The bathroom's over there and the cafeteria is that way. And it's no big deal. It should be part of the culture. Again, I know I'm harping on this. Bear with me. And third-party risk increases as companies scale. Oh, really? No joke. How many companies do you know that have less than, large enterprise companies, that have less than 1,000 vendors, less than 1,000 third parties? And the answer is not bloody many. Okay? Most large financial institutions, most large enterprises have 1,000 to 5,000 vendors that they work with. You're telling me that the risk is getting smaller or even staying the same? Oh, hell no. Again, we need to make sure that we are having this as part of our culture. We have risk that comes in. How are we assessing it, addressing it, managing it, making sure it's within our risk appetite, et cetera? It's. I know I'm harping, but you get the idea. I'll get to it in a second. 5, demonstrating trust continues to drive business value, but measuring ROI is a challenge. If we don't have good security practices, nobody's going to trust us. At least the first time we get breached, our reputational risk is monstrous. But how do we say, hey, we've done so many things, spent so much money and time and effort on all these security features so that we can have the trust of the customer, and they don't care? Well, that means your marketing department isn't helping you, isn't working with you. That means you're a cost center, not a revenue center. And you should be a revenue center. So effectively, all of the things we've just talked about, from Vanta, from Cloud Security Alliance, from our common sense, let's be honest, is saying that we have to handle risk everywhere, and we have to measure what it changes that we handle the risk appropriately. And if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. And I'm going to hand that back over to Aaran.
It's like I live every day worrying about risk, and the thing that worries me the most is third-party risk management, because it's somebody else who's got your data. What are you meant to do with it? But yeah, let's not go into that. We can do a whole show about it. Thank you, Josh. And finally, right, AI use damages professional reputation, study says. Okay, employees who use AI tools like ChatGPT may be viewed as less competent, less hardworking, and more dependent by their peers and managers. This negative perception is consistent across different ages, genders, and job roles. Apparently, managers who personally use AI are more open to hiring AI using candidates, where those who don't are more skeptical. It's like, I don't even know who wrote this. It's like it was written by a child. But anyway, because of the stigma, some employees hide their use of AI at work to avoid being judged. When the task clearly benefits from AI assistance, the reputation damage tends to disappear. Weirdly, I think this was written by AI. Look, in my humble opinion, people who think like this are idiots, and people that do not use AI in the correct way are also idiots. It's coming. No one can stop it. Get on board or get left behind. I'm telling you, a universal wage will not be fun. It's like, just use it properly. Be smart enough that when it gives you an output that you actually know what it means, and you just don't cut and paste it and bang it to your boss, because you'll get found out. Be smart enough to use it. Learn how to use it. Sorry for the doom and gloom. Okay, thank you, Josh, and we'll see you next time on the Security Weekly News, where Doug is back in the big seat and I'm in the little seat again. Peace out, cyber people. Let's go and do some aggressive patching and learn more AI.
Amen.